Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, or my uploading schedule has been quite messy compared to how it usually is. Apologies for that. Usually I try to upload on Thursdays and Sundays. That has been a bit more inconsistent these last few weeks. I'm hoping that within a month or something, I'll be back on track. A lot of major life things are happening for me. I started a new job. I just bought my own apartment, which means I need to move. So I need to plan things around that. My afternoons nowadays consist of me looking for furniture, trying to buy stuff secondhand because I don't have money anymore because I bought an apartment. A lot of things going on in life. That is why my schedule is a bit inconsistent. I also haven't been reading that much. I think it's fair to say that I'm officially in a slump that I think I will be getting out of quite soon. Hopefully, fingers crossed once again. That's basically life. And because of that, because of all these things that have happened and the fact that I have been like slumping and not really been that excited about reading, or I don't know, I have wanted to read, but I just haven't read. I can't really explain it. Even though I have planned to like pick up a book and read it, I just haven't. Because of that, August was not my best reading month. I still read quite a few books in August, but that was like in the first half of August, and then I've just been slumping hard. Let's just look at the stats and we'll see why August was not the exciting reading month that I had hoped for it to be. In August, I read a total of 7 books. That's actually not that bad. I feel like I only read 3 or 4 books in August, which still is not bad once again. Lately, these last few months, I've read like 10 books or more each month. And also the books I have read in August are definitely on the shorter side. So I do think that's one of the reasons why I feel like I have not really been reading that much. Just because I know that the page count or like audiobook length is not comparable to how my months usually look like. If we look at audience, all of the books I read in August were targeted towards adults. I don't know, this might also be a reason for why my reading did not go as well in August. It might just be that I read a bunch of boring books for adults. Considering where I was in August and like my mindset and stuff, a YA could have been a wiser choice. Perhaps this is something I need to consider in the future actually. Perhaps I need to consider more the audience of the books I read. And if I feel like I'm slumping and I think back to what books I read and realize that, oh, I've only read adult books this month, then perhaps I should pick up something else. If we look at format, 2 of the books I read were physical books, 1 book was an ebook, and 4 books were audiobooks. If we look at rating, this is another sign of my August slump. 1 of the books I read, I gave 1 star, 2 books were 2-star reads, 2 books were 3-star reads, and 2 books were 4-star reads. A couple of 4 stars, but like no 5 stars, no major wow, new favorite book, anything like that. Rating wise, not the best either. And then if you look at genre, 2 of the books I read were fantasies, 2 of the books were contemporary, so like general fiction. 1 book was a mystery, and 2 books were magical realism. I'm not quite sure how to categorize these ones. They are realistic books with a magical feel, so I actually made magical realism its own genre now. I couldn't really categorize them as fantasies because they're not fully fantasies, and they're definitely not only contemporaries. Needed like an in-between sort of genre for these ones. And those are the stats. The thing is, since I've been slumping, I haven't really been thinking that much about my reading, so we'll see how it goes for me to explain the plots and my thoughts about the books I read in August. Can you tell I'm not excited about this? So the first book I read in August was Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikasu Kawaguchi. Apologies if I butchered that, I probably did. I listened to this one as an audiobook, and it's basically about this cafe where you can time travel, so we're following 4 different people's stories. I really enjoyed this one. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I liked the writing, I liked the atmosphere, I liked the vibe. It's a translated book, it's translated from Japanese, so I read it for the Olympics-a-thon. I just really vibed with this book. I thought that the author, the translator, and the narrator all did an amazing job of telling this story. And I know that there's a sequel to this one, so I definitely want to listen to that one at some point. I gave it 4 stars. Yeah, it was one of the better books for me in August. The second book I listened to in August was Earth Eater by Dolores Reyes. This is translated from Spanish. I believe the author is from Argentina. I also listened to this one for the Olympics-a-thon because I needed more translated books. This one is really interesting. It's like a coming-of-age story about a girl who, when she eats earth, she gets like visions and stuff about missing people or dead people or things like that. Quite a short book. It's a very short audiobook. It was interesting. I didn't mind this one. For being a very short book, I would say that there were too many explicit scenes in this one, and with that I mean sex scenes. There really was not any need for that, I would argue. It was interesting. I enjoyed the idea and the vibe. I don't mind this one. I don't. I gave it 3 stars. Another short book I picked up because it was translated and I needed it for the Olympics-a-thon, which I still failed, but we'll get to that, was I Have the Right to Destroy Myself by Young-ha Kim. This is like barely 100 pages long, I think. It's translated from Korean, and this follows 2 brothers who are in love with the same girl or something like that. It takes place in Seoul. We're following 2 brothers who have fallen in love in the same drifter who gives herself freely to both of them. I picked this one up because some other participants in the Olympics-a-thon mentioned this one, that they had read it and that it was short, and I had like 1 day left to read something, so that's why I decided to read this one. This is the one book I read as an ebook, and this is also the one book that I gave 1 star. Why did I give this 1 star? It was confusing, definitely not up my alley, and just so much sex in it. What's the thing with so many explicit scenes in like these tiny books? I get if it's an erotic book, like a romance, I have read those as well. If it's a PvP or like a smutty book, that I understand. But when it's supposed to be these like hard-hitting contemporaries with like life messages, don't just put sex in it. That's boring. My review for this one was literally, no, it was confusing, not inspiring, and simply not it. And I couldn't agree with myself more. The next book I read in August was She Who Became the Sun by Shelly Parker-Shan. What can I say about this one? I really enjoyed it, I really did. I have made an entire video dedicated to a review of this book, so I will put it in the cards and also link it down below. Please check it out. It's my first ever single book video review, so I would really appreciate it if you would give it a watch. My more complex thoughts and all of that will be in that video, but basically this story is about a girl who, because of reasons, disguises herself as a boy and joins a monastery in order to survive, basically, and she hides her identity throughout the entirety of the book, while she's also like learning, developing, and somehow becoming a very central part in this war that is going on in this book. This book is inspired by historical events about when the Mongols conquered China. It's so interesting. It's really something. It is marketed as a Mulan meets the Song of Achilles. Mulan because we have girl dresses up as boy. Song of Achilles because it is queer and draws a lot from mythology. I really enjoyed this one. Some parts of it I found quite slow, a bit confusing as well. The chapters that follow the main characters, Chu Shongba, and like their journey, her journey, and her thoughts and like ambitions and desires, those were incredible. I highly recommend this book. If you're looking for a good fantasy, if you're looking for perhaps something with the similar vibes as the Poppy War, although it is completely different in many ways too. I gave it 4 stars. It was a very beautiful and fun and stunning read in many ways. The next book I read in August was Siri, Who Am I by Sam Chida. I listened to this one as an audiobook. This was like one of my punishments for August, where I needed to read the lowest rated book on my TBR. And this one was it. It's basically about this girl who wakes up in this hospital. She has amnesia. She doesn't remember who she is. So she uses her phone and social media to figure out who she is, what she's doing, all of that. Quite entertaining, to be honest. It's definitely frustrating in the way that you don't agree with the main character's way of approaching things, basically. Not really that complicated. The writing is sometimes quite off-putting. All of the pop culture references are a bit annoying as well. It was entertaining, but lacked in everything else. Plot holes, unlikable characters, very odd resolutions, and just general low quality. I ended up giving it 2 stars. I think I was debating whether I should give it 2 or 3 stars. As I said, I did enjoy it. It was entertaining, but the quality was just not there. The next book I listened to was No Exit by Taylor Adams. This is a thriller. It's about a woman who gets stuck at this highway rest stop because there's a blizzard and like her car dies or something like that. And while she is at this rest stop, she discovers a mystery, or like some people at this rest stop might not be who they appear to be and stuff like that. So it is like a thriller. I didn't write a review for this one either. I think I was just slumping with everything from reading to filming to review writing. What did I think of this? I don't know, honestly. I think I just didn't get into the mystery, and also the mystery is revealed quite early on, so it's not as much of a mystery as more like a escape sort of story. I think I just perhaps was in the wrong mood when I listened to this one or something. Like, I just wasn't into it, and I can't really blame the book for it. It was mainly me. I've said it before, I feel like I struggle with thrillers. I don't know, there needs to be something special about them, something that really stands out. Most of the thrillers I have listened to this year, I think, have been like 3 stars. So it's not that they are bad, it's just that they don't really do anything for me. I gave it 3 stars. The final book I read in August was Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. This was also one of my punishments for August. It's a TBR vet. I think I have had this one on my shelves for like 7-8 years, something like that. Where do I even begin? I'm starting to think that at least Neil Gaiman's writing isn't for me. I have not read anything else by Terry Pratchett, so I can't really speak on his writing and his part in this book. But I have read Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, and now I've read this. It's too all over the place for me. It's so without direction and messy and it's just too up there. Like, his head is in the clouds and I can't keep up. The first 100 pages of this book I really enjoyed. The idea of the plot, the story, the fact that we have like a demon and an angel cooperating because this Antichrist is in the wrong family and stuff. I really like that. So I loved the first 100 pages, to be honest. I was super excited because I was like, hey, I'm actually enjoying this. This is so good. I'm glad I'm reading it. But then after those 100 pages, nope. Then it got too messy, too confusing. So many other characters were introduced and more focus and time and effort were put on them instead of the main plot, which was what I was excited about. Like, I wanted the demon and the angel and the Antichrist. I don't care about the other people and like the prophecies and stuff. No. No. It ended up being very disappointing and I'm so sad about it because this could have been it. But like the writing just is not for me. I do want to read more things by Terry Pratchett in the future. I would like to give his Discworld series a try. But Neil Gaiman, I'm not sure. I'm still curious about like American Gods, about Coraline. There are books I am curious about. I just don't think he is for me. I ended up giving this one 2 stars because it was such a struggle for me to read this, and by the last like 200 pages or so, I skimmed most of it. Like, I didn't care. None of the plot points and like characters and things that I was interested in were in the book anymore. I want to throw it. Like, it made me so upset because I really enjoyed the first 100 pages. This could have been amazing. It could have been everything I love. I don't know why I'm having this reaction now. I think it's a very delayed reaction. Now I'm frustrated. Now I'm angry. Why did you not give me what I wanted? And those are the books I read in August. I read 7 books in August, and that is quite amazing. So I am very happy with that. That despite the fact that I feel like I slumped for the majority of the month, I still read 7 books. I had hoped that I would have a happier and more exciting wrap up for you guys, but this is what you get this time. We'll see how September goes. Today is September 6th. I have not read anything yet. I haven't finished any book yet, so I'm still slumping quite hard. Hopefully I can get out of it soon. I did start reading a bunch of books in August. I started reading Birthright by Nora Roberts, got like 50% through that one, and then realized that I was not interested in that book or that case at all. I still want to finish that one, but like it was so not a priority when I felt like I was slumping. I also started reading War and Peace because, as I said, I wanted to start reading War and Peace because I want to finish it before the end of the year. I'm currently on page 26. So I have not read that much. What I've read, I have actually enjoyed. It is a fun feel from the beginning, to be honest. Like, I am surprised that I'm actually enjoying this one. But as I said, it's only 26 pages out of like 1,300. I DNF'd The Raven Boys. Was not feeling that one, probably because I didn't really pay attention when listening to the audiobook. I've started reading Know My Name by Chanel Miller. I'm loving that one. That one is incredible. From the first page, honestly. That book has me really emotional. I love every single page. Chanel Miller, she has such a way with words that is so unique and like really grips you and rips your heart out. And I love that book so much, but I'm so slow with it because I want to feel every single word. I'm loving that one. It is done already. It will be 5 stars. I know that. I just don't know when I will be able to finish it. So a lot of unread books in August as well, unfortunately. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it and I really hope you enjoyed it. Also, if you don't know, I'm hosting a read-along together with Jane, Esme and Femke. We'll be reading the Broken Earth trilogy starting in October. I will link the announcement for that one. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye!
You gotta just go for it. Don't think about what